All right, welcome to the Bresee Makes Breezy podcast. We're here for the late January episode. We each had a lot going on, but thank you so much for tuning back in with us.
It's been like I think a whole month and a half, maybe. When did we do the last? We only
Something
did
like
two,
that. Yeah.
right? Two, yeah. A lot of holidays was crazy and shit like that.
The Fallout rollout is starting to happen now. So all the J. Cole fans are feeling a lot of mixed emotions about that right now. I know we talked about that a little bit yesterday, but we can go over that again. Just what your thoughts are on J. Cole's legacy and what your thoughts are on this being his potential final album.
Is that what he said, or is that just speculation?
No, he laid it out a couple of years ago where basically he had this sheet of paper and he was like,
Oh yeah, I saw that circling around.
Yeah. So the Fallout he's been talking about for the last like 7 years, how he wanted that to be his final album.
I always think it's so corny when people plan their final album
Really?
as well. Yeah, I do.
What makes it corny?
It's just so like it's just trying to make it like a thing where it can just be a thing. Like, hey, I haven't released anymore. I'm not gonna say it's my last album because X didn't have a chance to say it was his last album because he fucking died. So like,
But I that's a little different though because his career and life was cut short.
I'm sure he had a plan too. But what I mean is that like it's I feel like it's too planned, like it's too predicted, too like it, because music you can get like inspired out of nowhere to make something. Even it doesn't have to be your last rap album; it can be something else. So,
Right. I think
personally, I think it's corny, but
I think it's something to be appreciated though because of the fact that so many people like. You never know when or if there's ever going to be a next album. So to be able to go ahead and like give them the closure of like, yo, this next album that I'm putting out is going to be the last one and then I'm done. Now we can be emotionally prepared instead of like guessing for years and years. Because for me, I think about the people who are fans of Lauryn Hill, right? She had one album. She's been a musician who performs and tours for like the last 20, 30 years. And we'll never know if I think she like just barely announced she's gonna put out another album, but imagine waiting for those 30 fucking years. Like that sucks to if that's your favorite artist.
yeah, no, and that perspective, yeah. But it's like I guess I see it as I like it when artists go with the flow. I like it when it's not too. Because like with Kendrick, we didn't know that GNX was gonna come out, and like it wasn't. I feel like it wasn't a thing that he had a plan until all this like Drake shit started happening and it just became, so inspirational for him. For us, it's new, like, and we wouldn't even have gotten that album if it wasn't for the inspiration that
Right.
Drake. Even if some might not agree, but Drake inspired him and he inspired Drake. So, there's a lot of good things that came from that little bullshit.
Yeah. No, it's definitely possible. Like I can't say that it's not.
But what do you think? Do you think J. Cole's legacy is off, or do you feel like it's
So I know this is something that we have different opinions on. So for me, in terms of his legacy, I don't know. Like I'm gonna say it definitely took a hit because I can't deny that, right? To hear the music that he was consistently putting out for the last, I don't know how many years, right? To see how amped he's been getting, to see how he's been, even in his 30s, like upping his pen like crazy when he was already really fucking good was phenomenal to watch. And to get all of this, I'm the best rapper alive talk, like all the other rappers have always done, was amazing to see. So then to have all of that build up and then we think, oh, this is finally the time. We're finally going to see if he's battle tested, and to have that completely redacted, to have the song deleted off the album, even the way that he apologized or like the way that he worded his apology really sucked to see, right? So that's going to forever be not just a stain on his legacy, but the biggest stain. But on the other side of things, right? Like I'm okay with people saying that he's not in the big three, but for me, the big three isn't top three all time rappers. That's very, very different.
No, the big even saying that is kind of irrelevant now, like because like there's so many artists for anyone, and then like the big three is just opinion at the end of the day. But like it's I couldn't listen to that artist the same way anymore because but I'm not a fan of him, so I have no problem with that.
Right. It's easier for you. Yeah.
But like I have this guy that like he's saying this shit and he's finally getting tested for it by someone who's on the same level, came up at the same time almost, like they're same they're colleagues, they're coworkers, like they're not from different generations, you know what I mean? So it would have been like a treat for everyone to see what this guy could have did. Like maybe he could have even just teamed up with Drake and did a 2v1. Fuck, it would have been gay, but it would have been more respectable than just saying, "Oh, they're both my friends, I'm out."
Yeah. I think there's another part of me that is glad that it happened. One, because it was so I guess there's like two reasons why I'm glad that the apology happened. For one, I'm glad that it happened because in the middle of all these diss tracks coming out, it honestly got a little bit tiring trying to keep up with everything, because it wasn't just a back and forth between Kendrick and Drake, right? Because then you had Rick Ross jump in, you had Kanye come in, you had I don't even remember who else, but there was like 7 different rappers who were putting out tracks. And then on top of all of that, what a lot of people don't know is there were simultaneously other beefs happening at the same time with like smaller Los Angeles or New York rappers or whatever the case may be, right? So having an entire year, starting from like January with Megan and Nicki, having all of these different diss tracks come out, one after another, was exhausting to keep up with. And it was even to the point where I like to listen to it with like reaction channels. That's my shit. Is I'll put on a video reaction while I'm doing the dishes or something, right? And even they were talking about like, bro, this is kind of old now. Like I'm kind of tired of getting up every 2-3 hours to see and to film a video for this shit. So I'm glad that J. Cole apologized on that front, just because that would have been another messy ass back and forth to have to keep up with. Secondly, to make the point really quickly, is I'm glad that it's happening because now that he put out the mixtape today for his birthday, and we heard like how hungry he is on it. I'm glad that so many people were clowning on him, even though I don't fully agree with that, because now we have basically what sounds like Cole when he was unsigned again. Like this shit sounds ridiculous. So I can appreciate that.
I haven't heard it, so I can't say how like it translates to me, but I'm sure it's a lot better than what people expected, because I'm not gonna say he's a horrible rapper. He's not a bad artist. He's just overhyped, and he's never had a hit as big as Drake, and he's never been able to keep up consistently with Kendrick. You know what I mean?
No. So like, what do you mean about consistency with Kendrick?
Well, because Kendrick's been, at least in my eyes, he's been consistent with dropping music that is, radio played. Every album is gonna have 3 to 4 songs that are in rotation.
Okay, so you're going by the albums, not like, or like what off of every project is playable. You're not going off of like how often they're dropping or something like that.
How often they're dropping, and how repeatable it is, how radio friendly it is, and how good it still is. Not like to me, I only know like 3 J. Cole songs that are like, I know a lot of his songs. I used to listen to him in high school.
See, but then I personally have an issue with the consistency argument because of the fact that Kendrick stepped away for like 5 whole years. So, for that entire time, Drake and J. Cole never stopped releasing. So there is kind of a problem with consistency in terms of.
I'm just talking from my point of view. So after Damn dropped when I was in high school, and I was still hear Money Trees, I was still hear Mad City, I was still hear Sing About Me, not from just me, you know, from the people I'm around, and I wouldn't hear, like, let's say J. Cole dropped you know that song, Can I Hit It in the Morning, or something like that. And then Work On Me, like those songs were good at the time, but they didn't carry on to the next generation, let's say. I was listening to X and Juice WRLD and whatever because I was hot at the time, and I was still able to go back and listen to Kendrick, you know. But I didn't go that far back and listen to J. Cole and whoever came out at the time. Even Mac Miller for me wasn't someone that I went back to.
I think now that you're bringing it up, I think his commercial success is actually really fascinating to think about, because when you look at his catalog, right, you do have 2014 Forest Hills Drive, where like half of that album was stayed on the radio for the next like year or 2 years.
Yeah, it was a hit.
It was a stupid album, right? But then after that was KOD. That was his next like major release, because I think there was a mixtape in between. You know, people can correct me if I'm wrong. And yeah, KOD was the flop. That was the most heavily criticized, where it was like, you know, you have boring ass beats, we hate these flows, this music is whatever. And the only song off of the album that I remember like getting radio spins was ATM. It was cool, but like definitely a huge departure in terms of like audibility, it wasn't as sonically pleasing as you normally would get from these kind of big artists. And then I don't think we got another big release until 2 or 3 years later with the Off Season, which that so far is my personal favorite album, but I don't remember hearing nearly as many songs. Maybe like, not The Climb Back, which one was it? Pride is the Devil, I think, is the one that I heard people playing the most often. And that's the one with Little Baby on it. But yeah, like to the point that you were making, when you compare that to a Kendrick album, he always has a shit ton of songs that are everywhere. Like you not to the same effect as certain other artists like Drake, but that's because to me Drake is a pop artist. So like the comparison in terms of streams is never really gonna be fair. But yeah, like I think you have something really solid there.
Like let me add to my argument real quick.
Yeah.
The evolution of when Kendrick came out, that to me is peak hip hop music. And you know, orchestry and fucking, you know, just
like the production
composition, like just the composition of it grew so much from when he started, where it was just like us, like, you know, I have a beat that I like and I can't really do much with it because I don't have a band behind me. I don't have, but it grew so much and it had a meaning and it was sonically pleasing and you can listen to it without feeling like, oh, this is too deep for me. But what I'm trying to say is that the sound evolved and it was new, it was crisp, it was what an artist should be, and I don't think we got that from J. Cole. And I'm not saying that maybe he's not that type of artist to, you know, go out his way to make things sound more musically pleasing, and he's just an MC. But I didn't see that growth from J. Cole as I did in Kendrick, and they both had the same. But
I think the issue with that is also like it's a problem that a lot of people have, and that I've seen with I want to say like every major artist, where if you aren't one of the people who are consistently checking them out, you have this completely different idea of what their career has been like compared to somebody who listens, even if you just listen like once, somebody who does listen to every single album as it releases. Because it's the same thing as where people in 2020 whatever will be like, oh, Pokemon Go is dead and whatever, nobody plays it. But if you're a person who never stopped playing it, it's like, what do you mean? They literally have world championships for this shit. People get flown out to other countries to play this game still. People still travel just for this game. So what are you talking about? It's dead. We have more players than ever. It's just not mainstream anymore. I think it's a similar effect to that, where it's just like you have to be tapped in. And that's probably the result of us living in this world now where everything is like, it lives or dies by algorithms. It's what can you put on people's TikToks? What can you put on people's Instagrams? And the fact that we've started to get every news source through our social medias also kind of affects like what truths we're receiving. I want to say.
I agree. I mean, but I agree to that in the sense of talking about now, because that wasn't the case when these two guys came up. You know, that wasn't the deal. Like this algorithm shit for us is not even old at all.
But that's the beginning of their career, though, and like as they've continued to rap because they haven't stopped rapping, that's kind of how the entire music industry has been affected. So like to talk about it the other way with Kendrick, because this is, as someone who I said I love to watch reaction videos, this is something that I witnessed, is I've seen like 2 or 3 different channels who do a lot of Kendrick Lamar reactions now. And before they started, they hated this motherfucker. And literally like they thought that his entire career was Good Kid, Mad City. They never heard his music before then. And because they didn't like that album, they assumed that his music never really changed. So outside of Good Kid, they only ever heard Damn. They only ever heard DNA, right? Like, so to them, Kendrick all these years has still been making the, I'm going to start rapping right here and going to pitch my voice up and then I'm going to come down and da-da-da-da. Like, he still does all the eccentric stuff is what they imagine until they sit down and listen to everything and they're like, oh no, like every single project, he's completely changed his sound. He does different vocal techniques. He still does stuff that I don't like occasionally, but a lot of this shit is hot.
Yeah, I was one of those fans. Like,
yeah.
When Kendrick started doing I think Damn, that Damn album was like the biggest hit in my high school.
Right.
And I hated that
I know
shit
you
so
said
much.
that you really didn't like that album.
It's not bad going back, but it's just like, to me, it was like, it's different. But then as I grew older, I understood like, you know, you can only make music with the same monotone, you know, sound for so long until it all starts sounding the same, you know?
Right. I think, like, I don't criticize your opinion of that too much, just because, like, as he's continued to release music and even, you know, after he's taken a break and everything, for me, Damn as a project has actually gotten worse. Only not because like it as a standalone album has gotten worse, but because I love all of his older and newer stuff so much more. Except for maybe Section 80. It's probably still towards the bottom for me, which it should be. You know, that was like his first album.
That's towards the bottom for you?
Yeah. Because I love all of his other shit so much more.
That's probably top probably for me.
You think Section 80 is your favorite album he's ever put out?
Yeah, because it's the one that I've been able to go back to like every year, and I still relate to it, and it's like, to me, it's like you can hear there's something there that's different. That's not like, you can hear that and scope it out and be like, okay, this guy is probably gonna make some shit like To Pimp a Butterfly, but it just wasn't in the in the budget yet.
Well, what's funny about that is like he's one of the only artists. It's him, Pusha, and M are the artists that I have never stopped going back to. But Kendrick is unique because he's the only artist where I go back to almost every single album just throughout the year. So I think that's why like I'm able to really easily compare it to the others and say, well, Section 80 is actually at the bottom for me, which you would think it would be higher because that was my first experience listening to him, you know? So you would think that there's more of that nostalgia. But for me, damn, what's my all-time favorite? I want to say for me, it would be GNX, Pimp a Butterfly, Big Stepper, Good Kid, Damn, and then Section 80 at the bottom.
At the bottom?
Yeah. No. I changed my mind. I changed my mind. Damn has to be at the bottom because that's the only one that I don't go back to nearly as often.
Connecting Damn to the High Beast era, where the people that I was around, that was the thing to listen to. It was Damn, it was Kanye West, it was Supreme, like that shit that I stayed away from. So that's why I guess I collectively judged it and I pushed it away.
What do you think, pivoting off of that, what do you think is like the trend or whatever you want to call, or like the era that you judged the most? Would it be hyphy for you, or is it something else?
There's a lot, because I feel like all of them are like at one point they're bullshit, but I think from I'd say the one I was a part of, let's say that. So I was a part of the well, let's say trend or whatever. I was a part of like the emo music, X, Juice WRLD, Lil Peep. So I was a part of that being depressed shit. So to me that was the worst and cringiest one.
Why was that one so cringy for you if that was like the shit you were into?
Just because being sad is bullshit, and like you shouldn't want to fucking make it a part of your personality and a part of your whole musical fucking
okay.
Because that, for me at the time, that was a part of, like, that was my musical focus, like, to make sad music. And not, it might not be cringy because like you're saying shit, but like me specifically
for that to be all that you're about.
Yeah. And then like in that time it came with drug abuse and all these people dying over following those trends, and
like Lil Peep died, and yeah,
but there was a lot, the Supreme, the swag, FAGs.
I forgot that's what they were called. I forgot that's what they were called. Yeah.
So those guys, there's a lot of them.
I was gonna say that was the era, or like the trend that I judged the most was the hype beasts, I think people called it. So like the people who would, take a day off of work or skip school to go wait in line for 12 hours to go buy a shirts, Supreme drop. Right, like that was the stupidest thing to me, especially because like you were doing it only because of exclusivity, and it was like, I mean, I'm not somebody who knows anything about fashion, but from the outside looking in, it seemed like the Coachella of fashion, where you were doing it just to say you did it. And all the people that I personally knew, that was exactly how they used fashion. There was a guy that I was in a after school choir with, and it was like literally he started tucking in his shirt every day, and he would walk around holding his belt buckle like a fucking cowboy, just so that he could be like, look at my new Gucci belt. This was $300. You don't own anything that's worth $300. And it's like, we're 16. You know what you could have done with that $300 instead? And yeah.
Just to add to what you're saying, maybe I chose the wrong one, because I do remember people buying $300 shirts and shoes, and they live in a single fucking apartment
Right,
with their
right.
mom. So it's like, fuck, what the fuck are we doing? You know?
And I think this is me throwing shade at somebody, but you know who gives a fuck. The worst example I have ever seen was this dude who was named Max that I used to be cool with, just because like I at first it didn't strike me as anything because he would tell me how like yeah my family has some decent money. I have a lot of money that I get to spend on whatever. So this was a kid who was a little younger than me. So I met him in high school, and he had Supreme everything, Louis Vuitton or Gucci everything, right? It was fucking stupid. And like for that to be your sole obsession was a shame, because then when he got into his first like serious relationship, it became an issue where if they were having problems with each other, he thought money could fix it. So it was like, yeah, I know that we got into such a horrible fight that we were screaming our heads off for like the third night in a row, but I'm going to buy you a Gucci bag tomorrow, and now it should be all good. Right. And that's fucking crazy. And then to like continue to get to know this person, his mom, at least, I don't know about the rest of his family, but his mom is like a person who never got to immigrate over here with him. And he was telling me like, yeah, she still works in the fucking rice paddies somewhere, like back breaking labor, always has disease and shit. Like I don't even communicate with her. And I'm like, so for you to come from that and like you don't have any values except what your wallet can grab for you is like one of the most depressing things I've ever encountered in terms of like how a person has decided to mold themselves.
Yeah, dude, it's something that you see so often though. Like that's why I feel like I've probably gonna have trouble in the construction industry getting really really rich, because I don't want to fucking fuck people over, and I don't want to pay people shit,
right?
Like, because let's be honest, it's so easy for me to, or for our company to find a worker who has no, his legality is questionable, let's say that.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have the same there's no rights there. Like I can pay him what I want to pay him, and it might be minimum wage, but for that type of work, minimum wage isn't a fair wage. So like, and there's so much shit that I see fucking so much of our Hispanic people in that industry that just fuck people over so bad. Like that's why I'm like, fuck, I don't think I'll make it like that, but I think if I'm fine and I'm paying people right, I'll be good.
And it's not even just, unfortunately, it's not just the construction industry, but it's also
everything. Yeah.
Like it could be plumbing. It could be, I think like the one that most Americans experience is you get really fucked over in the automotive industry. So if something happens to your engine, that can cost you like $10,000 in certain cases, where it probably costs them somewhere between $2,000 to $5,000 to get the whole new engine from a manufacturer, and then they charged you an extra 100% just to install it for you, right?
Yeah.
And it's not something that's like fixing your suspension, because to fix your entire suspension system is incredibly complex. It's really time consuming. You have to make sure that the whole vehicle is still safe. But for people to be charging $2,500 to put in a fucking airbag is evil.
Yeah, that's what all the dealers do. Like every dealer is gonna upcharge you. Like if you go to a regular mechanic, he'll charge you, just so it might be expensive, but it's not. Like a dealer will fuck you up the ass. Like,
yeah,
100%.
But going back to talking about people shaping their personalities, what are some of the things that you think you like modeled yourself after, or that influenced you, I should say?
Some of the things that influenced me, the way I grew up, the things I've seen. I grew up in a humble family and everything, and we didn't have much for one, this is the one reason why we never fucking, were able to keep our home and do all these things that happened to us, because my dad wasn't a fucking piece of shit. Because if my dad was a piece of shit, he wouldn't have paid his workers with the last, check he had. Because it's a story that he tells me that he had, let's say he had like 7K in the bank, everything's good.
Yeah.
But the banks and everything, it happened in the recession time. So he went to go check and he was like, fuck, I only have like 3K and that's what I owe my guys right now. And I can't tell them I'm not going to pay you. They have, and this is all happening while we're losing the house. So it's like, fuck. That's just something, like he said, he chose, what do you call that word? He chose loyalty and good
dignity.
Dignity, yeah. Dignity, yeah. He chose dignity and he had to choose morality over fucking money, and we lost the house.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Right. But because he made that sacrifice, people were able to put food on their tables.
Yeah, and we lost the house, but we weren't ever hungry like that. So we were okay either way, whatever it happens. So that's what I base my shit off of, but I'm trying to be a little bit more not like that, not to be a complete piece of shit, but to still leave room for profit and all this shit.
Yeah, you want to be a little bit more concerned with your self-interest now.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, because you've seen how difficult that can be for yourself, unfortunately.
Yeah, so I base off of that. I base my morals, my personality off of, my family, and I don't know what else it would be. Maybe
so like media of any kind, music, movies, shows, you weren't a person where any of that ever influenced you?
Oh yeah, a lot. A lot, yeah. But it didn't stick, it
so like it was like a temporary, it was like phases.
Yeah, it changed.
Okay.
Yeah, phases. Okay. Because I've always wanted to be funny, dude. Like I've always wanted to be like hilarious, like and I've always on this podcast, I wish I can be a little bit funnier, but it's not natural to me.
Right. I think that's some of the issues that a lot of people have when they like start to record themselves, especially if it's not something like music. They automatically want to be funnier, whether they're on live streams, whether they're on a podcast, or whatever else the case may be. And everybody gets incredibly like self-conscious about how they look and who they are or how they sound. It's such a crazy ass phenomenon to witness or to experience even.
Yeah, dude, I feel that too sometimes when we're doing the thing. That's why I want to hear my own voice, because sometimes I feel like I need to speak a little bit more clear, and then I get so relaxed because it's like a phone call to me. I'm more relaxed, so I don't have to be so proper. Or if I could put my corporate voice on or something. but yeah, like just phases. But at the end of the day, whatever morphed me to be, the type of person and not be a shithead.
Yeah,
is my family. What about you?
I think the like number one thing that influenced the person I am is just cartoons, bro. Like
cartoons.
Yeah, like all the cartoons, especially the Japanese ones, like that have those cliches and like the same old themes that every one of them share, really just hammered that shit home for me. So it's like, okay, well, I came off of Dragon Ball, and between Dragon Ball and having a hardworking dad is where I got like my need to like have a lot of discipline. So if I wanted to get fit in middle school, by the time I got to like 6th or 7th grade, I'm curling 40 to 50 pound dumbbells, right? I can't do a lot of pull-ups because I don't understand that I need to build my upper body strength yet. But, I'm spending every second of my free time running to the park, or if I'm at school, I'm finding like a corner to go work out in, and I'm hitting laps and I'm doing 100 push-ups a day, whatever the fuck I have to do, or just it's because,
being it's shaped you into being a very committed person. Like,
yeah. And so like the years of me doing that with, especially because a lot of people who knew me throughout middle school and high school wouldn't have guessed, but I was actually really fat as a kid. And so that was where fitness became like a really huge focus for me, was around third grade when I started to feel bad about the way that I looked. Then I carried the dedication elements of that, and I kind of applied that to everything in my life. So if I was like, damn, I like drawing, I don't know if I'm good at it, I'm gonna turn the TV off and I'm gonna just sit there and draw shit and try to figure it out, and I'm not gonna do anything else for the next like month. And that's even how I treated like relationships that I had with people, was if you are my friend, if we call each other friends and I feel like I can trust you, you just tell me what you need and I'm gonna go figure it out, or I'm gonna go help you with whatever the fuck. I go pretty balls deep even when I know I don't have to, just because that's what was on TV for me. That's what the cartoons were showing, all this power of friendship bullshit.
Yeah. I guess, I mean, I don't know if I could say the same, because I grew up watching like SpongeBob and fucking what is it called, Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, and like Drake and Josh. So I just like goofy shit.
Yeah.
So I was always okay. So that does fucking translate to my life, because I am a lot unserious.
You're hella unserious for sure. Yeah, like I can definitely come to you with serious shit, but I have to like let you know, hey, don't roast me. I want to talk about my feelings today.
That, I guess that comes from like, that does come from a lot of goofy.
That's like a subconscious thing. It like,
it is. It really is. I never thought about it like that ever. Actually,
I see. That's the type of thing that you need to be like taught in schools, because like I feel like everybody should be given the opportunity to like learn the basics of psychology, let's say, especially because that's something that everybody who goes to college wants to do, Psych 101. So give us the opportunity to at least do a crash course on that in high school, so that we're not wasting those units later.
That's such a good idea too, though, because it's hard to make the connection as a kid, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, when right now I'm barely making the connection now. Like, why am I so goofy sometimes? I'm like, I watched SpongeBob until I was like 13, you know?
Right. Give us psych in the schools so that we can understand ourselves, and then give us some fucking like actual classes on how to do your own taxes and how all of that shit works. What's the difference between a Roth IRA and a what's the other shit? A 401k. When I was watching Degrassi, and I think they start in middle school and then you see them go up to high school, and when they get to that point, I was like, yeah, there's all this shit that America used to have that got cut.
Is that American or is that Canadian?
They're Canadian, but they had on TV, they had wood shop, they had automotive class, and they had driver's ed classes as well. All this shit that like prepared you for life, home economics. Like, I got exposed to those kind of extracurriculars watching Everybody Hates Chris, specifically the home ec class, because I had like that episode specifically.
Golden show,
hella amazing show. Oh God, bro! I used to rewatch that, sharpening my
another
knives
one
for
that
work.
I grew up watching as well.
Fuck yeah. But that one was the one that put in my mind, like, oh yeah, you know, like which like probably every fucking teenage boy has had that same thought. If that was a thing your school had, was like, if I can take home ec, then it'll be easier for me to get girls, whatever, you know. So
I always wanted to do the wood shop class.
Those were the two that I wanted: home ec and wood shop. Let me build shit, let me cook shit, right? What kind of like what man are you gonna pick over me if I can do those two things?
I will add that based on the area that we grew up, is one of the reasons why we didn't have that. But I know a lot of people who grew up in better areas that do have that still.
They still have it, yeah.
Yeah, we just don't have we do have the fund. The fucking government has enough.
Right.
But
so it was heartbreaking where that was what I thought high school was supposed to be. And then when I finally get to middle school, high school, there's none of those programs, and you don't even have like just regular ass art, that shit really, I think, fucked us over, because then you put us in a situation where if, and it kind of makes me feel like it becomes anti-poor at a point. You put us in a situation where if you want to learn home ec and wood shop, etc., you need to have access to a person who can teach you these things. You have to hope that they teach you everything correctly. And as like everything else happens to the people of this country, you know, like, I'm too fucking poor to have a toolkit. So maybe I did take these classes. It wasn't something that I invested in because, you know, at the time a whole toolkit ran you like $50 to $80, and you now to have one of everything you need might run you closer to $300 to $500 depending, you know. There's no more fucking cheap ass Black and Decker all over the place, or whatever the orange Black and Decker used to be everywhere, and now it's Ryobi. And the price of everything is so higher. So it's like, if you are a poor kid growing up now and your dad doesn't happen to have a workshop, you're fucked. If you're in a family where both of your parents have to work, who the fuck is going to teach you how to cook and do your laundry?
Yeah, I will say that I got lucky though in high school. Just because my school did this thing where they put math and graphic design in the same thing. So I learned Photoshop like very well, and I still use it for my company now. So I was kind of lucky to have that, but everything else, that was just the only thing we have though, just
right.
Photoshop.
My school had shit, but it was interesting because their entire focus was getting kids into college, so they only had classes that looked good on a resume.
That shit was so brainwashed, dude.
It was because
like, go to college, go to this, get these loans.
But it was like extra bad for my specific school. Well, I want to say academy, because
let me say something real quick.
Yeah.
Fuck them for teaching us how to fucking get loans before teaching us how to do taxes and shit.
No,
like
that's the
to go to school.
That's
Fuck
the crazy shit. That's the crazy shit. I didn't even learn that. Like they did a horrible job.
Did you guys not have
a college counselor?
What was it called? Gear Up LA, I think it was called.
We did, but it was, I think Gear Up for us was only after school. So you had to have the time and you had to sign up for it if you weren't already doing other programs. Speaking of Gear Up though, I got the wildest story about that shit. So I wanted to visit, like, Gear Up was using the main office after school. And they would have like posters of, you know, we're going to be having this. So even if you weren't like one of the regular members, if you saw one of those posters, you'd be able to sign up for whatever the event was. And I saw that they were doing sleepovers for different schools. And I was like, you know what? Like,
oh yeah, I remember that.
Right now, I'm kind of on the fence about, do I want to go or not? Because I had a lot of different people influencing me at the time, and I just wasn't sure. College was, you're moving in with the white people. Like, that's what I expected college to be like. And I was like, is it going to be too much of a culture shock, or can I deal with it? My mom didn't sign the permission slip. So I was like, yo, what the fuck? You didn't sign this last night. I didn't say what the fuck, but I was like, yo, you didn't sign this last night. I have to, it's 5 a.m. I have to be at the school at 6 because of how long the drive is. And she's like, yeah, well, I don't feel like it. And she goes back to sleep. So I'm feeling,
what the fuck?
Right. So I'm feeling like, fuck. Well, you wanted me to go to college, motherfucker. Why won't you let me go on the college field trip? I was going to spend the whole weekend visiting 3 different schools. And so now I'm feeling like, damn, you know, a bunch of my friends, like 4 or 5 people I knew were going to sign up too. Now they're going without me. This really sucks. I wanted to have this little sleepover moment. That, and like, I had a crush who was going on the field trip. So I was like, damn, sleepover with Bay was good. Right. But then later it's like lunch or some shit. And my mom's in the living room with the TV on. And she's like, Eric, come look at this shit. And I'm walking over. I'm hella upset already because I'm like, I don't want to talk to your ass. You wouldn't sign a fucking piece of paper, bro. But I look at the TV and it was a huge car accident when a FedEx driver crashed straight into them, and it was from my school. And so like why is that funny, yo?
I'm just imagining it, like, because you're watching this shit happen, right?
Yeah, and I thought my friends had fucking died. You're a piece of shit.
No, it's just like, dude, it's like one of those things where you're watching it and it's like you can't do anything about it. You're just looking at it like, fuck.
That's what I'm talking. This is like a huge ass travesty. People that I know have been murdered, and you're fucking crying, laughing.
Because like
you SpongeBob ass motherfucker.
Because I mean, this is why I'm laughing. Like, this is why I'm laughing, because I don't know what you mean. If you tip over, what, like sideways, or if fucking went.
The two drivers and several of the students died because of the impact.
I'm sorry, man.
Because it's like that skinny ass road, they had to send helicopters to try to get everybody, because you can't send enough vehicles. It's too slow.
I'm sorry. The only reason I laughed was because I didn't hear the part where the FedEx was coming.
Yeah.
So I thought they were. Well, shit,
You thought the bus just kind of fell because it fucking.
I thought the hill was so fucking inclined that like that motherfucker rolled over
fell
backwards. Like,
no. Thankfully, the 5 people that I like personally knew, they weren't on the bus. So like I came to school emotional as fuck the next day. I was like, "Where's so and so?" And they were like, "No, I wasn't on the bus. I didn't feel like waking up." So I was like, pure laziness saved the 5 people that I knew. But then it was also like, after I was like, okay, they're okay, I was like, wait a minute, I was almost on the fucking bus. I woke up on time. God damn.
Fuck.
And
dude,
that
like,
actually exposed a huge ass series of investigations where it turns out that multiple FedEx drivers were causing massive car accidents because they weren't paying attention. They were texting, they were jacking off, they were falling asleep. Like, so all over the country, people were killed by FedEx workers.
When I look back at it, it's so funny how I crashed into 2 cars and shit.
What?
Like, shit like that is funny now, you know, because I had my dream car at the time. Like, I had a SUV, pimped out SUV.
Oh, damn.
And I don't know what happened. I fucking blinked and I saw this car that was close to me, and then the city car was like the city Department of Water and Power truck was next to me.
What?
And I took that
fuck?
motherfucker's bumper off. I took his bumper off, and I kind of scratched the lady's car. But it's just so funny to me because the guy comes out of his car and he's like, "Fuck, I barely got a new truck," because you know, he was there in that company for a while, and it was this older dude. And he was in that company for a while, and he's like, I had this old ass truck for so long, like they finally gave me a new one, and I'm like, fuck. And like, and
then here you come along,
and I'm like, woo, let's do this, bro. Let me get that bumper real quick. And
you have no idea how that accident happened?
I do. I was going too quick, I think, and
okay.
then and I got like, Expo is tricky. Sometimes they brake too much, and then and there's only 2 lanes that are specifically supposed to be driving lanes. They're not. There are 2 lanes and there's 1 way on one side, so it's 1 way. So nobody should be stopped. And that truck was just getting there, like ready to, you know, set up shop and start closing the street down or whatever. And it's the funniest thing about that is that, like, this old guy. Sorry, I hit my mic. So this old guy, he comes out of the truck and he's limping like a motherfucker, bro. Like, he's limping like crazy, and I like, my heart's like, fuck. What did I do to this guy? And I hit him on the side of the door that he was sitting in. He was chilling in his truck, and I come, boom, motherfucker, like, just hit his door and his bumper. And he walks out limping. He's like, don't worry, son. This is from from other accidents.
So he was probably a shitty driver too if he's had other accidents.
Like, this is from something completely unrelated, and I'm like, okay, thank God, you know.
Don't worry, son. I broke my shoulder on my way here.
Like, that shit's just funny now to think of it, but at the time I wasn't laughing. You know.
What do you think is like? What would be the worst accident that you've seen happen?
Worst accident I've seen happen?
Yeah, car accident.
I haven't seen many, but I did see one time. I was at my brother's
in
soccer
LA.
game.
You haven't seen many?
No, I haven't, to be honest.
That's
like, I'm
wild.
Not, but I did see that a car, like, basically it flipped over, but I think they got out fine, so it wasn't that bad. I haven't seen nothing like crazy though. Actually,
it was. It's funny, but it's not. Like, around Vermont and Third, where the Sizzlers is at, there used to always be a lot of car accidents on that specific corner. So, like,
that little street, the street by the bowling alley.
Yeah. Literally right outside of Shadow Lanes, there's the Sizzler on the corner by the intersection, and like the Sizzler has the brick wall for the parking lot, right? A lot of people would somehow crash into the brick wall, meaning they drove completely up onto the sidewalk. So they were always having to rebuild that shit. The worst one that I've ever seen was on 3rd Street. It was somewhere near the Johns, because I was going to the store with my mom because I used to go help her carry the bags back, right? So we're waiting for the dash, and there's this old man who was trying to cross the street, and he was on crutches, right? So he finally gets the right of way. He's walking hella fucking slow. And from that part going, what direction is that? West? From that part going west, 3rd Street goes kind of like uphill. So from the top of the hill, you see this fucking Honda Civic just speeding, like they're fucking flying off the floor, right? And as it gets closer, I'm not gonna. Yeah, no, fuck that. I'm not gonna talk about that. But as it gets closer, you see this woman who's just like cheesing through the windshield, and she comes in at over 100 miles an hour and somehow slams the brakes so perfectly that not only do you hear when he full force smashes into her fucking bumper, but she parks on top of him. I don't know how the fuck that happened. And when she hit him, right? So first we're like, damn, what is that? Boom. And then she's just in front of us. And then you see one of his... Shut up. See? That's what we're talking about. It's the most unserious motherfucker in the world, bro. But then as he gets hit, one of his 2 crutches goes flying down the block.
Oh my God. It has
to that Vermont and 3rd intersection. And it hits a fucking... That's what I was saying. So the crutch flies down the block. It hits a pickup truck through the fucking windshield. So they swerve, but they swerved into oncoming traffic. So it was this whole like 5-car, 6-car pile up in a block away. And then emergency responders had to get through all of that shit to get to her ass. And when the ambulance pulls up, she's still sitting there blasting her music, smiling, fixing her fucking makeup, parked on top of this motherfucker, and he can't breathe. And they're like, we don't know how to move, because we don't know if he's dying because of the weight of the car on his fucking lungs, or if it's his other crutch that's trapped and it's poking him.
Oh shit.
And then the cops showed up, and they get him from under the car or whatever. She pulls over to the side, and she starts unbuttoning her fucking blouse and fixing her tits up. Like, no, bitch, you're not you're not getting out of this one. I'm sorry to say you like killed like 30 people.
Dude,
I don't think your little B cups are gonna do anything for you.
That's oops.
Yeah,
oops, didn't see you there.
Dead ass. That's exactly what that was. That tee hee.